What is up, guys? Welcome to another edition of the Market Marauder Show. Beating the market one trade at a time. If you're new to the Market Marauder Show, it's an investment channel, helps you to find best deals in the market. If that's something you're interested in, make sure that thumbs up. Definitely helps the YouTube algorithm promote the videos. Alright, today we're talking about something that's on the minds of everyone, and that is inflation. So it's no mystery that a bunch of prices and stuff are starting to go up. Inflation is here, regardless of what you may see people saying in the news. Things are starting to go up. So, for you as an investor, inflation can really be a double-edged sword. The markets at this time are basically overpriced. And there's a lot of other things going on as well. Different policies being enacted. We're just getting out of a pandemic, so that's stressful on a lot of people as well. But we've seen like everyday items start to go up. So, I mean, there's ways that you can hedge it, which basically means to try to avoid it. But it is inevitable. Inflation is kind of here. So maybe saying, what is inflation? Inflation just basically means that prices of goods and services are going up in layman's terms. But some of the items you may see going up are things like Alright, so let's talk about inflation. What is inflation? Inflation is the decline of purchasing power of a given currency over time. So the currency that we're talking about is going to be the US dollar. So this is why crypto has been so big, because they're talking about crypto can help you hedge inflation, which basically means to avoid inflation. That's why Bitcoin's been going up so much. That's why people are advocates for all these different altcoins that are out there in the market. Because they're trying to avoid inflation. So inflation is the rate at which the value of a currency is falling, and consequently the general level of prices for goods and services is rising. So that means you go to your local store, whether it's Walmart, Target, Publix, wherever you go to get groceries, everything starts to cost more. Bread costs more than it used to. Gas costs more than it used to. Everything starts to go up in price. Everyday items that you use go up in price. This is due to inflation. So inflation is sometimes classified into three types: demand pull inflation, cost push inflation, and built-in inflation. The most commonly used inflation indexes are the Consumer Price Index, or CPI, and the Wholesale Price Index, or WPI. Inflation can be viewed positively or negatively depending on the individual viewpoint and rate of change. This also affects things like housing. So you may see housing prices start to go up like crazy. This is because inflation on the items that are used to build houses as well. So like for new construction, the price of lumber had went up like crazy. Piping, there's common items that people use for constructions like had a large increase in price. I think those prices have come down a little bit since then, but during that time it was kind of a freeze on the building of houses. Those with tangible assets like property or stock commodities may like to see some inflation as the raised value of their assets. So basically people who are holding assets, this is great because their assets are worth a lot more, but you'll also see a lot of people selling some of those assets off to kind of reap the benefit of the inflation. So going to some statistics on here. This is from Trading Economics. So annual inflation rate of the U.S. accelerated to 5.4% in June of 2021 from 5% in May, hitting a fresh high since August of 2008, which you remember that was the last big crash that we had before the March one because of the pandemic. So as well as above forecast of 4.9%. Biggest price increases were recorded for used cars and trucks. So this is 45.2%, and that is still really high at the current moment. Gasoline 45.1%, fuel oil 44.5%. Utility gas services 15.6%, and transportation services were 10.4%. Shelter costs were up 2%, and food 2.4%. Inflation has been on the rise this year amid low base effects from 2020, and as the economic recovery picked up, picks up. Business restrictions ease and demand surges amid widespread vaccination and federal support. Meanwhile, high commodity prices, supply constraints, and higher wages as companies grapple with the labor shortage continue to weigh on the CPI. So, the CPI, basically, what I was talking about earlier, which is this consumer price index. So, just remember that. So on here we can see there's a chart. You can see from July 2020 all the way to where we're currently at. We can see that it's up 5.4%. So this is pretty high overall. Definitely really high as far as inflation is concerned. And these are just the stats on that. So in July, it's at 5.4%. So actual 5.4% was in June. Previous was 5%. But you can see the steady increase over time. So you can see March, it was only like 2.6%. April went up to 4.2%. May is 5%. June 5.4%. And so July's numbers haven't come out yet. So U.S. inflation rates on the rise, near a 13-year high. So definitely everything costing more. It's a lot going up. Some things you can do to hedge inflation is, in my personal opinion, just save, budget, know where all of your money is going. Some people may say, investing into the stock market may be a thing to do, but with that, the volatility in that maybe not be the best option overall. Try to find assets that can help, stabilize. Crypto seems to be a way that a lot of people are going to help hedge this inflation, but I would stick with only the big ones, being, Bitcoin and Ethereum, just those two. If you get into the other ones, it seems to be like a lot of people are just getting into those to make money quickly. So those would be a lot more riskier overall. But the number one thing that I think that everybody can do to help hedge inflation is just to increase your income. So maybe get a side gig or a side hustle to increase your income overall, and then just live below your means. So, if you have a job, you can pay all your bills with that job, get another job, side job you could do in the spare time, whether it's something like DoorDash, Instacart, Uber Eats, something like that, or just delivering pizzas in general, or something that you can do on the side, and just save that money. So just increase, your nest egg more and more and more, because you never know what's going to happen. As the economy continues to grow and as these different developments happen. So, I think those are some great ways to hedge inflation. Drop a comment down below. Tell me which ways do you think inflation is going to affect everyone overall. Definitely a very interesting market that we're in. But drop a comment down below on your different ways to hedge inflation. Crypto definitely being a great one. While you're down there, make sure that thumbs up. Definitely helps the YouTube algorithm promote the videos. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.